Speaking of pausing, I'm so warm. I feel like I'm just sweaty, sweaty, sweaty. The sun is streaming in the windows and it's very warm in here. But I did want to come and talk about books. They're all behind me. There's no mystery on this channel. Another book that I'm really interested... Whoa, where did the sun go? The sun just disappeared. I just lost the sun for a minute. Now it's kind of weird. On the one hand, I'm happy because it's not so hot in here. On the other hand, the lighting is completely different, so sorry about that. Hi everyone, it's me, Jess, back in Montreal. Yay! I made it home. So happy to be here in my home. So happy to see my dog. There he is. So I've just come on to film a short and sweet video with my pile of possibilities for Shorty September. This is not going to be a long video. I'm really trying to get back into the swing of things. There's a lot to do. Got claims to make to Air Canada. That's like top priority. I did want to come in and talk about a pile of possibilities for Shorty September. I went to the library yesterday and picked up a couple of options, books that have been on my radar for a little while that would be great for Shorty September because they're not very long. This is the 5th anniversary of Shorty September. I'm going to leave the announcement video and all of the information linked in the description box below. It is being hosted this year by, I'm just going to give the channel names for these hosts: Fiber Artsy Reads, Roving Reader, and Too Many Heathers. They have come together to keep this event alive. It was originally created by Bert at Past Read Time. I made a video last September with a pile of possibilities, some recommendations of short reads. You can check that out. I will also leave it linked in the description box below if you want some more suggestions. I don't think I do any crossover between the two here. These are pretty new books to me that I pulled from my shelves. I have 2 out from the library and, oh, I forgot a couple. Hang on a second. I actually have 12 books in my pile of possibilities. I know I'm not going to get to them all, but they are short books, so there's the possibility that I will get to at least a few of them. I took 2 books out of the library. I'll talk about those first. The first is Audition by Kitamura. This is on the Booker long list. I've heard so many things about this book and I'm just curious about it. Apparently it's written in 2 different parts. In the first part, there was a meeting between 2 characters. I think an older woman and a younger man. Yes, she's an accomplished actress in rehearsals for an upcoming premiere, and he's attractive, troubling, and young enough to be her son. And they meet in the first half of the book, and then in the second half of the book, I think I don't know exactly, but I think we're in a different situation, perhaps with the same people, and we come to understand what their relationship is to each other. That's really all I know about it. But apparently it's quite unique in the way that the story is written. I did read her other book, Intimacies, and I think I liked it. I'm trying to remember if I really liked it. It was about interpretation. I remember it was about a translator and interpreter who was like a live, real-time interpreter, and I thought it was very interesting when I read it. So high hopes for this one. And I don't know, am I going to tell you the pages? There's no rules with Shorty September. About 200, 250 pages or less. The Kitamura book is not more than 200 pages. It's about 200. So most of these books that I have are clocking in at around 200 pages. The other book that I picked up from the library that I've been wanting to read for a while, since last year's Booker list was out, is Headshot. It was longlisted last year for the Booker Prize, and I heard a lot of really good things about this book at the time. I thought the premise was really interesting. It's about young girl boxers, and I think it's written in the context of them being in the boxing ring, although I'm not sure about that. There are 8 teenage girl boxers in this blistering debut novel, and each of them has their own reasons for the sacrifices they have made to come to Reno, Nevada, to compete, to be named the best in the country. So it is told through a series of face-offs. That's what I was thinking. It's told through a series of face-offs, but I think in the way that the matches are described, we learn about these girls and their stories. So I'm excited to read this. I don't know. I'm hoping that I get to it. I found that I'm a little bit more of a mood reader these days, so we'll have to see how my mood is and where my eyes go when I'm looking to pick up a book, and I guess how quickly I get pulled into the story. One book that I don't have with me that I can't recall if I recommended it last year or not, but it's so good. It's one of those books that you start reading and you can't put it down and you can read it in one sitting. That would be Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin. I read it a couple of years ago and it was so, so good. And the reason I mention it is because my daughter's actually reading it right away for one of her classes, and she is forcing herself to put it down every so often, and I was a little disappointed for her because that's not the way you're supposed to read that book, but because she's reading it for school, she felt she really has to stop, pause, take notes. The next book I already started, so I know I'm going to be reading it. I mean, like, I briefly started it. It's M by Kim Thúy. It's hard for me to say that last name. This book, it was introduced to me by Camilla from Hasty Books. She recommended this when we did our guest appearance in the plot-alongs in the spring on, I can't remember if it was Gemma or Charlie's channel, and we both recommended books, and this was her recommendation. She said really anything by this author, so I went ahead and picked this up when I was out book shopping after that. It's about Vietnamese refugees, also about the Vietnamese War. It says it takes inspiration from historical events. She is looking at the stories of different people's lives. April 1975 in Saigon. She's interested in writing about the human spirit, from people who are orphaned to people who are working in the rubber plantations of Indochina, and then also during the massacre at My Lai, which I don't know very much about, so I think I'm going to learn a lot from reading this book. I don't know if there might be an immigrant story. I'm not sure. That was how I remember Camilla talking about it. So looking forward to reading this. Every time that I've spoken about this book or one of her books on my channel, people have said really, really great things about this author. So I'll be really interested to read it. It's actually a translated work. It's translated from French. I've already started this one, so I know I'm going to be reading that one. I'm going to talk about a couple of books that I bought. So if you watched my vlog already, you will have seen a couple of the books that I purchased, but I'll leave those till the end of the video. I also talk a little bit about books that I pulled from my shelves. This one is Pond by Claire-Louise Bennett. Beautiful cover. I have not read anything by Claire-Louise Bennett, but a couple of years ago she was really hyped up on BookTube and in other places, and I got interested and picked up this book and her other book, which I believe is called Checkout 19, and this is her debut novel. It's about a young woman who is living on the outskirts of a small coastal village. I'm not sure how much of a plot there is exactly to this story. I don't know if it's a slice of life, but I'm curious about what all the hype was about, so it's been on my radar, it's been on my shelf, and I kind of want to read it to see whether it's great, whether I'll discover an author that I really like, or whether I'll disagree. just curious. Another translated work that I talked about in my last video for Women in Translation, but didn't get to yet, is The Hole by Hiroko Oyamada. This is a strange story about a woman and her husband. They move to the country, and I think he falls into a hole or she falls into a hole. One of the two of them falls into a hole, and then it's supposed to be fairly creepy. And it's a super short read, so I think this would be a very good selection for Shorty September. Also because we're leaving summer behind and we're moving into fall, and this feels like a good book to get into the creepy fall vibes that will be coming soon in October. Along the same lines, I had read Ghost Wall by Sarah Moss, and actually when I was in Scotland, Sarah Moss had an event during the International Edinburgh Book Fair, and I just wasn't there in time. My train and the delays and all of that. I think it was on the day that we arrived, and I wasn't able to go and see her, but I really would have loved to have gone and see her. I did pick up The Fell. This is a book that she wrote that I believe is set during the pandemic. So it will be a bit of a throwback if I read it. It's about a woman who goes out for a walk and she slips and she breaks her ankle. And that is all I know about the plot of the story. But I really, really liked Ghostwall, so I think this would be another really good choice. And I believe it's only 200 pages. Yeah, 180. Only 180. I feel like for Shorty September, the idea is you can get a few more books in the month because they're shorter books. And that is a very rewarding feeling. Like if you're in a slump, it's really nice to read a shorter book. The feeling of reading that book. I've been reading a lot of long books lately, so I think I'm in the mood to read some short books. Another author who I've not read yet, who I've talked about many, many different times on my channel, is Deborah Levy. And Hot Milk was recommended to me by another teacher friend. And so I thought this would be a good one to read for Shorty September because it's not very long. It's 214 pages. This lighting is terrible. So I had to turn some lights on because we lost the sun, which is okay by me because it was streaming in so much heat. So yes, Hot Milk, which is the story of a mother and a daughter who go to Spain to seek help for the mother who is ill from a kind of experimental or wacky doctor. His name is Dr. Gomez. It says a man of questionable methods and motives. I think it's a revelatory experience for both women, and they learn a lot about themselves. It's been recommended to me as being very, very good. So I think this would be an interesting moment to maybe try something by her, because I wanted to read August Blue for the longest time and never got to it. Took it out of the library, returned it to the library. I think that's a short book too. I didn't see it when I was there, but this might be the right place to start. Another book that I picked up in the spring because it was listed on the Carol Shields Prize long list, and it seemed interesting to me as an idea for a story and a perspective that I thought was interesting, is The Hearing Test. I never got to know what it is, but when I hold up the book, it's like I block the light from the lens or something. Let me hold it up over here. It's the hearing, yes, much better. If I sit on this side, it's much better. It's The Hearing Test by Eliza Callahan, and it's about a woman's experience with deafness and how it affects her ability to participate in social gatherings. And apparently it's very humorous, but at the same time very good at communicating this woman's experience, I would imagine. I'm just putting those attributes on this book. I don't know. I haven't actually heard that many people speak about it. I do think it's a really interesting idea. It says deliciously funny, engrossing, eccentric. That sounds something like I would really enjoy. As I said, it's a pile of possibilities. This book has been on my shelf for a while because it had been recommended by a booktuber early on in my booktube days, and it was a National Book Award finalist. It's a book called Zori by Laird Hunt. I tried to read another book by Laird Hunt that I had a difficult time with, but I can't recall what the name of the book was. I think it was on that trip that I took to Maine. And I think it was a book that I buddy read with Priscilla, if I'm not mistaken, but I can't recall the name of it. I think it was the same author. In the House in the Dark of the Woods. Yes, we did finish reading that book. We read The House in the Dark of the Woods, and I think I had mixed feelings about it. And she said it was a departure because she had said that she really liked this author, and she had said it was a bit of a departure. So I had heard good things about Zori. It's about a woman named Zori whose parents die in the midst of the Depression, and she is sent westward. She survives on odd jobs, slept in barns and under the stars, and eventually found a position painting clock faces at a radium plant. At the end of each day, the girls at her factory glowed from the radioactive material. Then Indiana called Zori home. Spanning a life convulsed and transformed by the events of the 20th century and set against a harsh, gorgeous, quintessentially American landscape, Laird Hunt's extraordinary novel offers an intimate portrait of the dreams that propel one tenacious woman onward and the losses that she cannot outrun. That sounds really good to me, and I do love the cover. I think it's beautiful. So maybe giving Laird Hunt a second try. Let me know in the comments section below if you've read this or if you've read other books by Laird Hunt and what you think, if you would recommend. That would be fantastic. And then a book that I think I predicted for the Booker Prize in my predictions video, although I'd have to go back and check, which I found when I was actually in the airport, finally in the airport, getting ready to leave, and I picked it up as a consolation. Oh no, actually it wasn't in the airport. It was the day I went into London. It's The Anthropologists, and I'm not even going to try to say the author's name because I know I'm going to butcher it. So this is I think a more modern take on what it's like for young people living city life. It's about a couple who is living in a foreign place, and one of them is a filmmaker, so she's a bit of an anthropologist, and they're far away from their family. It's about the kinds of traditions and rituals that they are establishing for themselves. So I think that could also be a really interesting little read. I've been curious about it ever since I first started talking about it in the early part of this year, and it's under 200 pages, so I think this could be a great choice as well. The last two books are books that I'm pretty excited to read, and I think I probably will get to, if not this month, then next. But you know, one of them I've been talking about getting to for every video I make, so I really have to force it. First is One Boat, which if you've seen my vlog, you know I picked this up when I was in the UK recently. I don't know if you guys heard, but I was in the UK recently. This I talked about in that UK vlog. It's listed for the Booker Prize as well, and it's written by an author from the Midlands, which is where I was, where a lot of my family is from. His name is Jonathan Buckley, and I don't think the topic matter for the story is anything to do with the Midlands or Birmingham, but it's kind of fun that the author is from there. It's about Teresa, who returns to a small town on the Greek coast where just after she's lost her father, and she meets up with someone she knew from before, and that person has lost his son. And so I think it's just about the relationship that they have, and they must bond over their mutual losses. Curious about this one. And then of course, and I can show it off in person because I didn't get a chance to show it off in the vlog. For those of you who watch the vlogs, I got a signed first edition of Natasha Brown's book, Universality. You can see I got it at Toppings. Here's the signed. It's cool. The bar is signed. Will I read this copy or the other copy that I have? I actually have two copies of a book that I haven't read. I am a strange one. But yeah, I think this one is really next on the list. This is the story of a journalist who shows up at a rave or the aftermath of a rave, and somebody has been beaten with a gold bar, and it starts out as a kind of mystery, but my understanding is that it's more of exploration of race and class and social disparities in England. I'm very excited about this one. So there we have a short and sweet video. Nice pile of possibilities for Shorty September. Let me know in the comment section below if you're participating in Shorty September. I should have said that they have really cool prompts for the event. I will leave a link to the prompts PDF. It's really cute. I'm not following the prompts specifically myself, but it would be really fun to do that if you felt the urge. And yeah, let me know in the comments section below if you're participating, what you're reading, how you're doing. Say hello. I have been terrible about responding to comments. I apologize to everyone. My plan is to be really diligent about getting back into the comments now that I'm back home. I missed being home and I'm really happy to be back. So yeah, thanks everybody so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now. So yes, Hot Milk by Deborah Levy. So yes, Hot Milk. So I had to move my tripod because the lighting was bad. So it's about two women who, I'm so disappointed with the lighting. I'm just gonna wait for this one to come. This is sort of the gist of it. I could read the inside. I can read the inside flap, of course. It just says Hi Nola, do you want to come up and say hi? You want to come up and say hello? Up, up, up. Up, up, up. Up, up. Hello. Hello. Very happy to be home, and I thought I would kind of celebrate. Okay, now he's up here. I can't get him down. Okay. All right. Cool. Nice to see you too, bud. I love ya. Yes. Oh, good. Okay, you got the message.